Hi, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are Tiny Shiny Home.
Our family of 6 is building an off-grid desert homestead from the ground up here in Cochise County, Arizona, and using permaculture-inspired designs to fulfill our dream of greening the desert.
For us, this journey started with installing our first Berm Swale here on our property. It ended up being a 2-month project that included planning, excavating, handwork, planting native trees and grasses, running drip irrigation, and so much more.
So why are we doing this? How do berms and swales even work? We know you have a lot of questions.
And we're going to do our best to answer them, so let's get started.
Because we live in the desert of southeast Arizona, where water tables are dropping and wells are a poor investment, we're turning to permaculture-inspired designs to catch rainwater not only off of roofs, but with the ground on our property as well. Berms and swales are ancient techniques making a big comeback, showing us the way forward to create a sustainable, beautiful oasis in the desert that perfectly blends with the natural topography of the land.
These work by creating depressed trenches or swales on contour with your land that catch flowing water, as well as mounds or berms on the opposite side that can be planted with trees and native grasses.
By planting native trees along these berms, we can create wind and fire breaks, privacy screens, food forests,
and even mulch and firewood for long-term use.
Their roots fortify the berms and allow us to catch, store, and most importantly, divert water during heavy monsoons to safe areas on the property. This means we're creating more organic matter, which leads to the soil storing more water, which leads to sequestering carbon and reducing greenhouse gases. Plus, the concentration of trees leads to increased diversity of animals and habitats, which creates a symbiotic relationship with the land.
So yeah, berms and swales are pretty awesome, and we are excited to get this project started.
If you've watched our Permaculture Plans video, you know that we've already been working with RUDY planning our entire property, and he's used topo maps and sheet flow calculations to help us plan where these berms should go.
Today we are focusing on our main berm and swale, the biggest one on our property that will go from one corner to another. This will help us determine the exact placement of our house. Rudy's going to be here and help us mark this very important berm and swale, making sure we're on contour, and helping us make any fine-tuned adjustments as we go.
What's up, everybody? I'm here with Rudy, and we are marking our first berm and swale, which is very exciting. He is going to show us the process because we've never done this before. So just give us like a quick, how do you put a berm and swale on contour? Like, what does that mean?
Well, the answer is you're holding it. We're going to be using a laser level to help us find the contour line. And the contour line is basically just all of the elevations that are the same.
So let's talk about contour lines.
Yeah, what does that mean when you say your berm and swale is on contour?
Right, because most swales that might be used for like drainage or even berms on a road, they actually go with the flow of the water, but we're going opposite of the flow of the water. Does that make sense?
Right. Our whole point with these berms and swales is to catch that sheet flow and stop it. Right. And let it sink into the ground.
So it's perpendicular to the flow of the water on our property. Like we said earlier, Rudy used topographic data and he got the sort of drops in elevation on our property and helped us plan where we thought everything should go.
We're about to mark out the swale where we want it. Critical part of that is we want to find our 0 point. And the 0 point are just critical points of where we know where we want it or it needs to be. Zero in on all the points based off of this point to find the contour line.
Now, we are not going to be doing this by hand.
No.
We are bringing in a backhoe operator and they're going to cut the majority of this for us, and we're going to try to instruct them in a few different ways to make this as easy for us as possible.
And also to preserve the land as much as possible. We're making sure he stays on our contour line, backing up as he goes to where we're not disrupting the natural grasses here and as many trees as possible.
Now that doesn't mean that there won't be any handwork. There still will be a lot of work that we've got to do with rakes and shovels and stuff like that. But based on this idea that Rudy has, we can minimize a lot of that, and we'll let him explain it.
Because if we have our swale here, going to be right here, that's your berm. What we're going to instruct our operator to do on the backhoe, here's the backhoe. He's going to use his arm and scoop out here and then dump here. Scoop, dump, scoop, dump. And then while he's doing that, we're going to instruct him to smooth this out as much as he can with the arm to minimize their work. And then once he's done with that, the whole length, he's going to take this backhoe and use the front loader part of it and just go through and flatten and clear and make it look all nice. He's going to do that through the middle, and then he's going to do that also on the edge to kind of shape that edge real nicely.
It's 7 foot wide inside the swale, and then another probably 6 to 7 feet of berm. And it's that big because we do have extreme rain events here. We need to be able to capture as much of that rainwater as we can in the short amount of time it falls.
Right, and so Rudy has done these calculations for us, and this berm and swale are sized for a 100-year event, which means that every 100-ish years we get a rain event that brings in so much water, and we're trying to account for that so that we don't have flooding. So hopefully it will be big enough to stop that water during those crazy events. We started actually walking that area where we thought that this berm and swale would be, and we started marking different locations and trying things.
The first initial try had our swale, you know, this north side is fine. That was fine. But once we crossed over the driveway, the swale really needed to go all the way to the far corner through the animal paddock. We would have had to move all the animals.
Rip up the fence.
We would have had to move the fence. We would have had to do something different with our driveway and our entrance back there.
It was a no-go. And also, it would have been so far off, we would have actually ended up with 2 swales that...
Here, let's draw it with our hands.
Okay, so there would have been one that came like this, and then one that came like that.
And they would have gone feed into each other.
Yeah, it was a pain. And so this is again where that creativity comes into play with designing these things, is that we looked at the property and we're like, okay, well, what do we actually want this to do? We decided, number one, that we wanted this swale to protect our driveway. So instead of cutting right through the middle of it, we moved that whole thing to the back side of the driveway so that the water wouldn't flow through it.
Right.
That was the first step to fixing it. Now this did mess with our 0 point, and so we had to kind of go back and make a bunch of adjustments and decide what our new 0 point was, and then we had to decide if we were going down or up, and then we even ended up making that part in front of the driveway more of a diversion swale, just because of the way that the topography worked. But that's okay, because really it's still catching that water and it's protecting the driveway. And then the big thing was that we really didn't want to go over our water line to the airstream.
We weren't ready to move all that. And so that's another part, the creativity and the like being flexible. We're just being flexible with this. We just moved it up a little bit.
Yeah, and also it was going to push our house too far back as well. And so we're thinking about all that stuff, about ponds and the house, and because again, we've already planned out this whole property, and it's not exact, but we're just trying to think ahead for all this stuff. So instead of having the 2 swales that kind of overlapped and then fed into each other, we just decided to connect them. And so it went up and around that water tank, up by the solar shed. But then there's another problem.
A big tree?
It's a big, beautiful tree that we loved and we didn't want to get rid of, and also an electrical line. So we had to do even more sort of adjustments there, and that is the one part where we're going to have to come back and do a lot of handwork.
Now, once we got past the water tank and the big tree and all that, it went smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
We got that done in no time.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing that was really important that we did have to figure out, and we spent a lot of time talking about, was the overflow area, the spillway.
Right.
Yeah.
This, like we said before, this berm and swale is determining our house. And even before it determines our house, it determines where our pond goes. Because our pond will be right out the door, and
it's where all the overflow water will go.
Yeah.
Right? And so eventually, no matter how big we make a berm, there is still a chance that it might overflow that. And so what you have to do is you have to give that water an outlet. And so that all, like you said, it played into the pond and where the house goes.
And also the topography of the land.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of time out here with the laser level, just like determining where that water would go if it were to overflow. And yeah, there's a lot to think about, especially on this particular berm and swale, because again, it goes right through the middle of our property. It's the biggest one, it's the longest one, and it's going to catch the most water.
Now that our flags have marked exactly where this swale is going to go, it's time to sit down with our backhoe operator and make a plan.
It's a big day.
Things are changing here on the homestead.
Things are happening.
Are never going to be the same.
That's true.
Things are going to happen.
We are literally cutting the first berm and swale right through the center of our property, going from corner to corner. It's going to be a huge project. It's going to take a while, but today is the first day. We're cutting that. We're working with RUDY is here, and he's helping us make sure we get all the grades right. And we've got our neighbor here with his tractor, so it's a big deal. It's a huge infrastructure thing. It's a huge deal for catching and diverting water and like protecting the property.
And it's right before monsoon season starts, so
we're gonna see it in action.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta get over there.
We got stuff to do. Yeah. So the first part went pretty good. It was a straight shot in front of the driveway and then started to go up to the solar shed, but then we had to pause because we got to a critical area.
Right. Maybe you remember when we built our solar shed, we ran electrical lines from our solar shed to our water pump house that powers our RV.
Yeah, and thankfully all the other wires, like to our solar panels and everything, that was going to fall behind the berm swale, so that wasn't a problem. But that one line, we had to decide what we were going to do. I have a fly in my face. And really, we had to find it because, guys, if you're going to lay conduit, you should really mark it a little better. We didn't mark it great, so we spent like 30 or 45 minutes digging around in the dirt trying to find it. We finally found it, and we marked it so that Mark could not hit it when he got over to that area. So actually, that whole area near the conduit was pretty complicated.
Right. We have a huge tree, we have a solar shed, and we have a power line.
Yes, and we decided that the swale was going to actually go over the conduit, up next to the solar shed. It should have gone through the mesquite tree, but we wanted to save it, and then it had to go up the rest of the way. So because it was so tight there, our backhoe operator he could only get so close, right, without messing things up. So he dug as much as he could there. It was pretty shallow, and then we're going to have to go back by hand and kind of tweak that area.
Now, once we got past this tricky area near the solar shed and the mesquite tree, everything was pretty smooth sailing from there on.
We just had to trim a few trees back.
up the dial. You know what you gotta do. Get wild. You ain't gotta play it cool. Get wild. Take a rocket to the moon. Get wild. Get wild. Get wild. Show me how you do it, the way you move it. They keep coming back for. Oh, this beat is stupid. We're rocking to it. They keep coming back for. That style, that big smile. Go on, child. Turn up the dial.
The final step was to install a culvert. Now, usually culverts are put in so that water, like lots of water, can flow through them and not wash out like a road or a driveway. In this case, we were really just connecting both sides of the swale because we needed an area to drive over up near the solar shed to get up to this area behind us for a number of reasons. And so we just got a 12-inch culvert. We got it placed right, and then Mark filled it in and ran over and compacted it and got it ready.
I will say we did make one mistake with this culvert.
Yeah.
We opted for the cheaper route of only getting a 10-foot culvert.
Because on paper, I'm like, well, everything that would drive over it would be 8 foot.
8 foot.
Should be fine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that is very tight. So we may need to come back and install some sleeves and make that a
Extend
little
it.
bit
Yeah.
wider.
Also, another thing that we did wrong is that we didn't extend the berm in front of that culvert. Now, not that you want like a 2 or 3 foot high berm there, but by not putting any kind of mound there and by not building that area up high enough, we've created another spillway, which is not what we want. We want to keep the one spillway in the one spot over this way.
So we're going to be transferring some dirt here in the near future.
Yeah, we got to build up that area to make sure that it doesn't overflow long term.
This is our first big significant monsoon. So I'm out here looking at the swale that we just put in a couple days ago. And look at this. The important thing to do at this point in time is go out while it's raining, look and see what needs to be done, see what is working, what's not, take lots of videos so that we can improve it and make it better in the days to come. So this is just so exciting.
The more we looked at that north side of the swale, it definitely wasn't filling up right. So we called Rudy, he came back with his laser level, and we had to do some tests. So we cut in the berm swale the other day, but we're gonna go back and check a few areas to make sure everything's the right level. Check our spillway, and then we're gonna maybe investigate why a part of it wasn't filling up during the rain. He had to start with our 0 point at the spillway since that's the lowest exit for any overflowing water.
We just want to find the relative difference between this point, is it your driveway crossing there?
I guess we want to make sure that there's not a lower area in the berm, right? Okay.
When we look at this stuff, water follows the path of least resistance or gravity.
Right.
And so that's why these laser levels are so effective, is they tell us exactly where the gravity's at, where the lowest points are at. And they tell us exactly where the water would be running. It's just up to us to make sure we capture all the low points. Because if we miss one,
it's going to pull up there
it'll
instead
pull
of go
there.
here. Yeah.
So we just want to make sure when we inspect the site, we walk each point of it. And once we see every point, we can figure out, okay, this is what this point is at, this is what this point is at.
The next step was to check the culvert near the solar shed. Okay, so we came to this part where we've got the culvert where we drive over, and it's actually like right at the same level as the spillway.
Yeah.
So what that means is that we just want to take our berm here and we want to extend it all the way across and build this area up just a little bit so that it doesn't become a second spillway.
You're going to want to protect this whole feature.
Yeah.
So when this thing fills up, we also want to test this area here as well. You can tell we're not hearing any sound.
Right.
An easy way you can check it is this. You see?
Yeah, you can tell it's a little higher there.
So this whole area, yeah, we're going to want to rise this up from basically this point all the way to that point.
Okay.
Just so that, you know, if you get, say, a 100-year storm, which we already know from data is about almost 4 inches of rain here.
Right.
And depending on the intensity of that, the intensity is what depicts, oh, well, how much safety do we need to build?
Can it hold that much water back? In talking to Rudy, we realized the reason our south swale was working so well was that the area up above it was very cleared from our building activities and running meat birds. Because of the contour of the swale, there was also a very large surface area that was feeding into it. Rudy was pretty sure that our contour was correct, so we took the laser level around and checked a bunch of different points to make sure we were on level.
That's the thing with the design process. We hope to capture all of these little nuances in the landscape as we do it.
Right.
But that's where the long and thoughtful observation piece, one of like the first sort of tenets of a sustainable regenerative design, is the long thoughtful observation of the landscape, so you can see how are things flowing. You know, we have these topo maps that show us at a certain scale what should be happening.
Right.
You have neighbors up above you who are trenching things in different ways, or building up little mounds, or redirecting drainage in different ways that we can't capture. The topography sometimes won't capture either.
Yeah, so this would be a good way for anybody else that's like trying to figure this stuff out. If it's not working as expected, we're going to go investigate, and hopefully it'll help you try to see like what might be stopping that flow from going the direction or filling up in places that you would have expected it to.
You know, we're pretty much there. So this point's the same as that point.
That's impressive.
This is actually lower.
This is lower.
Yeah, it's lower. You see, this is where it's beeping.
Yep. One important thing that I learned today is that we actually don't want these swales to hold water for a long time. We've gotten a lot of comments of people suggesting we like line the bottom of the swales or put some material down so that we can really catch that water. But what we actually want to happen is we want it to soak in quickly.
When I first installed mine, my property. Ours is the same length as yours. It took 1 to 3 days to drain.
Yeah.
And now after the last rain, it looks way different because we have our seeded berm on the top. And the whole basin is filled with little plants as well, and organic matter.
Yeah.
It drains in 12 hours. We want the organic matter, we want the plants to help it drain faster.
Oh, okay.
Because we have such epic rain events that when we get them, they flow and the soil just can't handle, you can't absorb all that immediately. That's why we even have these things, because runoff is a huge,
right.
is a real thing.
Can't soak in fast enough.
So yeah, but then when it fills up, it will spill out and go over to the rest of the site.
Yeah.
But for this area, it'll drain faster. You don't have as much chance of breeding mosquito larvae. Organic matter will help infiltrate that water even more quickly.
Yep. So now we know that our swale is the right level, basically. Yeah. So that's not what's stopping the water from coming in up here.
Yeah.
So that means we got to go up on the other property and see what's stopping it.
Yeah.
At this point, we explored a completely new idea, a road diversion swale. Checking the water runoff on our adjoining road showed that it was running right next to our property and was naturally higher up on the contour. So we talked through a few options for directing that flow into our south side swale. Believe it or not, we were told that you don't need permits to do something like this, even on a county-maintained road, as long as you aren't disrupting the natural flow of the water. However, we decided not to pursue this for a couple of reasons. First, this side of the swale is already doing great. It was filling up perfectly. Secondly, if we cut under that fence, we would have to figure out a way to stop predators from coming underneath. And third, we felt like it was more important to focus our attention on why the other side of the swale wasn't filling up. Okay, so we're gonna go investigate on the property up behind us and see if we can figure out why the swale from the solar shed up to that corner isn't really getting much water in it. It's not really collecting what it should be because it is on contour and it's the right level. So let's go figure it out. We should play Mission Impossible. So there's a road that runs behind our property, and it's a road. It's barely a road, as you can see. There's like trees in the middle of it. But at some point, 20, 30 years ago, when they cut this road in, they bermed each side of it to help with water flow. And that didn't show up on our topo maps. So you can see, well, you may not be able to see, but essentially there's a pretty big berm here that's gonna stop anything from up above us from actually going to our berm, which is right there. So that's part of the problem, is that this is catching it and funneling it down that way instead of that way.
So yeah, it's definitely coming down this way. There's actually, did you see that? This is,
wow.
There we have it. We kind of figured out that what was part of this drainage going this way is actually being funneled from, looks like the road grading and just this natural berm that was formed from that.
Right.
To be pushed off this way.
Right. And because we're at the top corner of the property, we don't have much of our property before we get to that swale.
Yeah.
So we're losing a lot of this surface area because of this berm. It's slowing things down.
Yeah. This could be a simple solution where it was only a 4-inch difference between that bottom section and the top of the berm there.
Right.
So you can just widen that out. It's a really nice gentle channel that opens up that berm and kind of starts to move that water.
Right, so we don't have to take the whole berm out. We just want to see if we can grab off of it and redirect it. Now, you would think that our next step would be to plant trees, right? Not quite yet. Remember, we need to do that handwork on the berms and swales and smooth out those slopes. And when we do that, we need to be planting our grass seed in those slopes and mixing it into the dirt so that they don't blow away. And to hold the moisture in the soil so that that grass seed grows, we need some sort of mulch to put on top of it. Mulch in the desert? Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Today we are chipping up a bunch of limbs that we have sitting around. When we first moved to this property over 2 years ago,
Many moons ago.
just 2 years ago,
Feels like many moons ago.
we trimmed a bunch of trees that are nearby our airstream.
Mesquite trees, mostly. Yeah.
Super big thorns too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have piles all over this 6 acres that's fenced in.
Everywhere. They're everywhere, yeah. They're
So we invested in a wood chipper right there, and we are going to be chipping up all these limbs. And we're in the middle of monsoon season, so every afternoon it seems we're getting storms, and we can't chop this when it's wet, so we're going to be doing this as often as we can. We haven't tried any of the large ones yet.
We're a
so-
little nervous to put the big limbs in the little hole. So,
All right, you want to get started? You done? You okay?
okay,
I'm
so
going to get started with this wood.
let's chip some.
So after a couple hours of using this wood chipper, there's a couple things I've learned. Goggles and ear protection is definitely a must. You can't stuff a bunch of stuff in there. You gotta wait till it goes down and then keep adding. If any part of a limb is sticking off the main limb, it's incredibly hard to get to go through the chipper. So hopefully Jonathan has more luck with it than I did.
It's my turn. Let's do it.
You wanna go get some trees? You ready? Are you ready, Jet?
I am ready. 9, you're in my seat. Scoot over. Come on.
Come on. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come Hi, buddy.
Going to get some trees?
So many trees.
So many trees.
You ready, Nine-Nine?
Let's do it.
How about that automatic gate opener? Closer.
He's right there. He just got out. All right, 65 trees in the bed of our pickup truck. It's comical. We're gonna drive real slow, make sure we don't lose any. We made it back from Parkland with all 65 trees. Huge shout out to the kind people at Parkland for helping us stuff the bed of our truck so that things didn't fall out on the drive back. Anyway, now we're gonna take all these out and then we're gonna take all the ones we already have and we're gonna organize them into the same kinds. This is very exciting.
And this is what we're left with. Our own tiny nursery of trees. Before we go any further, we do have to give a shout out to our Tiny Shiny Tree Collective.
Yeah, when we started planning this berm and swale project, we knew there would be a lot of tree planting involved, and many of our viewers had said that they wanted to support us in some way. So we created the Tree Collective as a way for people to sponsor individual trees. Now, our original plan was how many?
100.
That was based on our calculations of a 600-foot berm and swale.
Right, and when we put those up, they sold out so fast, we couldn't stop it before people got to 104 trees.
That's true. But then we ran into a problem.
Yeah.
All right, we hit a small snag.
Small snafu, is that the word?
Snafu.
Ooh,
I
do you
like it.
that?
I like the snafu.
Okay, our original plan for the berm, as you might remember, was supposed to go from corner to corner through the animal paddock.
Right.
So we didn't do that, and that shortened the length of the berm, which we didn't realize how much it shortened.
Yeah, and in our minds this whole time, we've been
600.
talking about a 600-foot berm and swale,
Yeah.
and so we've got about 100 trees, and we're like doing the math, and we're like every 6 feet ish. Yeah. We got the measuring tape out and measured the berm, and it's not even 400 feet. And I think it's because we took out a pretty good chunk for the culvert. We've got this area over here near the solar shed that's not super usable.
The spillway.
And we didn't go all the way to the corner. So now we have 100 trees and only 360 something feet of berm and swale.
So we're trying to figure out what to do.
Also, let's talk about the trees we got, because we definitely expanded
our variety.
Because we had like 2 pines and a eucalyptus. Yeah. And that was it. And now we have all these other ones. Yeah. And it's very exciting.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I read the quantity?
Yeah.
We have 2 male mulberries. We have 4 red mulberries, 4 white mulberries, 12 cypress, 10 hackberry, 25 eucalyptus, 15 honey locust, 26 elkadir pine, 5, how did you say that one? Chaste? 5, why did I say chaste?
I don't know.
5 chaste and 4 desert willows. Okay, so our problem now is we don't know whether we have some options. We could tightly plant on the berm, knowing that when they get too big and they need more room, we could cut them down, use them for mulch, firewood, whatever.
Cut certain ones down.
Yeah, like in between where the other ones need to grow. And the further away they are from the watering source,
the more difficult they are to water.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy for us to irrigate this one because it's right next to the water pump. We can hook it up easy and just let it go. But anything further down the line is going to be real tricky.
Yeah, so we have a few things we got to figure out tonight.
So So we have a bunch of people coming over from our local community group. They're volunteering to help us finish up the handwork on this berm and swale and hopefully plant our trees too.
We'll see if we have time. My main thing that I want to have done is just the berm and the swale smoothed out and all that handwork done.
We do have this culvert area. Someone's coming by with a tractor and they're going to help fill in that extra 5 feet on each side that we added because we didn't do it right the first time. And hopefully we're going to try to address that area in the back corner because half of our swale isn't filling up during rains, right? So he's also going to use his tractor back there, and we're going to cut in a small area to help hopefully let the water come out of where it's being held back and sheet flow into the back corner of that swale.
So people are going to start showing up here any minute. We got to get a few things ready and then we can get started.
This is rough excavation. This is what we had one of the neighbors come by with his backhoe, and he just chomped it all out. It's pretty rough. So our task today, what we're going to be focusing on this morning, we're going to have a team raking, and as that team moves forward, we're going to have a team seeding. Those are all species that do really well native to our specific area to help revegetate the whole berm. And that's important because it'll help stabilize all the soil up there. And then as those two teams move forward, we're gonna have another team measuring and marking where plants go and also planting plants.
Now at this point, some of you may be wondering what kind of grass seeds we planted. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Rudy sourced this mix locally, and this is what it includes. It's a bunch of weird stuff I've never heard of. I'm just gonna read it off. Side oat grama, blue grama, Roth rock grama, green springletop, sand drop seed, plantigo, little blue stem, plains bristlegrass, and native fescue.
That's a lot of weird grasses.
It is, but they've all been tried and tested to do well in our local climate.
Three to one slope on the back ends because the water is going to flow this way. You see how steep it is here? This is like 1-to-1 slope right here. And that means as water flows through here, it's going to cut into it. And as it cuts into it, you could eventually form a head cut that forms back that way. So that's all we're going to be doing is just moving this soil forward. And you might need a pick, but we're just going to kind of create that 3-to-1 slope.
So we want to start a little bit further back, right? In most cases.
Yeah. And this here is a good model to start off with because this is pretty much the 3-to-1 slope right there.
Just on this side.
Just on this back side. Okay, so if you're not working the back side, you're working the front side, you notice it's much steeper, and that's okay because we don't have an active flow of water going down it and causing a head cut erosion. So we actually don't need to do anything in terms of the slope here. And what we're trying to do is just widen this out. And then once you're done with that, whatever's left that needs smoothing here, smooth that. But yeah, so this whole top section, we're gonna flatten it and widen it and then focus on the sides.
things are moving so fast. Things are really happening. So we've already got one section of the berm raked, seeded, and marked where the trees are going to go. So we're loading them up and deciding
Which
where
tree goes where? Yeah.
Yeah, so we got mulberry and hackberry. We're going to go ahead and take those over there and decide where we want them.
Okay.
And then we'll come back for another batch.
Okay.
What we just use, we actually just hit the sides right in. You see, it's ideal for digging the well as you go. And then you have the person water it in.
9, come here.
You see,
Hey, come here.
now this makes sense that we made all these little piles around. You could just move all this piles
I'm going to create a little well.
and just create the basin as you go. But this gives you the depth of basin that would really be useful. That's it. Any questions?
No? Lots of water?
Lots of
We
water.
want it to sit.
Really water this guy.
I just filled up our tank, so use as much as you want.
It was at this point that our neighbor showed up with his tractor, so we split teams. Some of us kept working on the berms and swales and the planting, and then the rest of us came to help with the tractor project. So the first big one was to cover over the newly extended culvert and then to raise that whole area up that we were going to drive over. After we took a break and ate, I think everyone was pretty tired. It had been a long, hot day, so we pretty much wrapped it up, but our neighbor did stay with his tractor and cleared out some of that area back there where we want that water to flow into the north side of the berm. my goodness.
We've had a few minutes to decompress since people have left. Some of us may have gotten showers.
Some of us haven't.
May have not.
You can see the sweat stain on my hat has grown by about 1 inch.
It was hot today, but man, we got so much done. Having a group of 20 to 30 people out here was like a total game changer.
Man, they knocked out so much work.
We started around 7:30.
Uh-huh.
Everybody started coming in around 7. I
Yeah.
think we started around 7:30 and till noon. Like, well, we broke for lunch.
Yeah.
Like 11.
Uh-huh.
And then, wow. So that's a huge chunk of time that everybody was able to stay out and get a lot of work done.
Yeah, everybody was so helpful. I mean, like I was kind of off doing weird little digging projects and stuff, and like I would look around and be like, oh, they're like all planted now.
It's planted
awesome.
and
or, oh,
seeded.
now the berm is all, yeah, I didn't even know they'd seeded anything. Like, awesome.
Yeah.
So great.
Thank you so much to the community and everybody who came out today. We could not have done this project without you, and we are so thankful for your help.
Yeah, yeah. We're not done yet though.
No, we're not done. So on this south side of the berm and swale, we still have some trees on the west side that we need to plant. You can kind of see in the pots back here, but everything on the berm is planted.
Can we say thank you anymore? Because
I
thank
feel
you.
like
Thank you.
I feel like saying it isn't enough. Like, I don't know if people understand how helpful that was
Yeah.
for us.
Especially with, I mean, all the things we have going on. Like, this would have taken us a couple of weeks probably to do this all by ourselves.
Yeah.
And this this just turbocharged everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turbocharged.
Do you like that?
No,
Turbocharged?
I really don't. You want to try again?
No, pick a new word. Jonathan? After planting a multitude of trees to plant even more trees.
We have a lot of work to do today. We're not just planting trees.
True.
We do have probably, I don't even know how many, but we have some trees that we need to get in the ground.
A lot of cleanup work.
Yeah, and after we get the trees in the ground, we need to water everything.
We still
with
have
a
to
hose.
do some mulching.
Yes, that's the other thing. We did have some animal. I think it was a cat.
Already. One night. Just one night.
And it was only to the mulberry trees.
Yeah.
So we have cages around our mulberry trees. We still need to mulch. We still need to water. We have a lot to do, so we're just going to get started. We are nearly done putting the straw on all the way down on the berm and all the trees, but I just had to get you for this sunset. We're just a little wet and a little dirty, but we've got almost all of this mulched, all the trees over here. Like, we're so close to getting this done. It was the perfect time to do it because it was just drizzling, so that will kind of weight the straw down a little bit, so hopefully it won't blow away too much. So that's about all we could do for today. The rain kind of put a wrinkle in our plans.
It's okay.
But we'll be back later and plant the rest of the trees, mulch the rest, and maybe wrap this up. We're back out early this morning. We have a few more trees to get in the ground before today's rain comes. We're gonna get them mulched, watered, and finish up this planting season. Planting time? We're gonna finish planting trees. Been watering plants for a little over an hour, watering all these trees, and I'm not even done with this part of the swale. So can't wait for that drip irrigation to get here, probably next week, and this is going to take a long time. I'm going to spare you from watching me do this all day. We'll move on to the next part.
You may remember that we put a culvert in right here where we're going to drive over. And you also may remember that we got the 10-foot one and it was too short. So we had to go get 2 couplers and 2 more 5-foot pieces. So now we've extended it to 20 feet. We've covered it over with a bunch of dirt so that it is higher than the spillway. But to finish this out, we need to put some rocks around the sides of it just to help support it as things drive over it and so that water doesn't erode that dirt away. So we're gonna go find a bunch of rocks here on the property, stack them up, get this part finished.
I see you free falling with your parachute pants. Look like the Vegas strip lighting up when you dance. Got your threads dripping with the glitz and the glam. Ain't nothing.
All these rocks came out of our wash on our other parcel of property. So we're gonna take these and see how much we need after this.
See stars like Vinny Van Gogh. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that. When you got it like that. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that. Rocking high tops while you're bumping the beats. Drop that boom boom, got the sound of the streets. No, no, don't stop, let it run on repeat. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back. Wow, they've never seen it before. Rated 5 stars, make them come back for more. When they walk in, jaws drop on the floor. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that. got it, yeah, yeah, you got it like, you got it, yeah, yeah, you got it like that. When you got it like that. Nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that.
All right, we got our culverts covered with some rock and some pea gravel, and I think we're just gonna wait and see with the next big rain how it works and if we need to add more rock or pea gravel. But one other thing we need to do for the trees that we've planted, there are like about 10 or 12 trees that need staked because they're just a little floppy. So I'm gonna go grab some stakes and then we'll get those tied up and hopefully they won't fall over. Well, we finished just in time. We got the rocks around the culvert.
Yeah?
We got our trees staked.
Uh-huh.
A tree stake, like a cheese steak.
Sure, yeah. That's what we're doing.
Well, that sounds good, doesn't it?
Cheesesteak, yeah.
Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff done just in time. It looks like we're gonna get a little bit of rain here.
Hopefully a whole lot of rain.
So, this is the last phase of our first Berm Swale project.
And this is an exciting one because we've been watering these trees by hand for a few days, and it sucks.
How is this drip irrigation even going to work?
Well, we've never drip irrigated before. So, initially, when we planned this, we were only going to have trees on our berm, right? And so you're talking about 200-300 feet. We thought it was going to be 300 feet, now it's 200 feet. 200 feet one way, 200 feet the other way. So that's about 400 feet. We're running this all off of our solar-powered water pump, our little RV 12-volt pump, which when we got a big accumulator tank, so it should work. However, when we started planting all the trees and we realized we had way too many trees, we planted a bunch of them on the back side of the swale.
So we're lining the swale, trees down the berm, trees along the side of the swale.
So essentially we doubled our tubing run. So instead of now 200 feet, we've got it on the other side, so it's 400 feet, and then another 400 feet, right? So we're a little concerned that the pump and the accumulator tank won't be able to run all of it at exactly the same time. So we got a timer that has 2 outlets, and we'll just program it and time it so it does 1/2 for 1 hour, 1/2 for 1 hour, 1/2 for the other hour. But that means we've got to figure out how to elbow and tee all of this stuff so that it works. This is one of those days where I'm just really optimistic. I think
it's
it'll
good that
be.
we're always like opposite because I'm just hot.
I feel like this is real simple though. Like
Okay.
I mean, we've never done it before.
Ready?
Okay. Pressure test looks good so far. I don't see any leaks, do you?
I haven't seen any.
So we're gonna throw some emitters in and see if it does what it's supposed to do. How are we supposed to use it if it leaks? Ready?
What happened, babe?
Nothing. Nothing happened. Okay, the north berm is finished and watered, and it worked.
Nope, that's the south side.
Let me start again. The south berm is finished, and we watered for a while, and it works just fine, which is very exciting. Instead of doing a bunch of T's and elbows, we're just gonna bring it out of that second connection on the timer, go all the way down, loop it, and come all the way back. And that way we don't need to use any fittings. Smart idea, babe.
Not a popsicle.
It's a problem. Yeah, so honestly, the hardest thing about this is unrolling the stupid tube without it getting all kinked up. So we're going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. Going to unroll it all the way down, come all the way back, then hook it up, put the emitters in, and be done. The last step is to connect it to the source of the water. Now we have a 25 psi down regulator, and then we have a garden thread 2 1/2-inch tube connections. So that tube is gonna push in here and hold, and then this is gonna screw on to that garden connection, and then we'll just push it in. So this thing that we got, it's got 2 outlets, so we're gonna water each half of this berm separately. It also has an app, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to say water manually. I've already set up my south side and my north side, which is zone 1 and zone 2. So we're gonna do north berm. We'll do it for an hour while we put in the emitters and test to see if there's any leaks in it. So let's see, we hit play. Nope, we got a leak. We got a leak. Where to start? Looks like it's leaking out everywhere. So the problem with the leak is that we accidentally got a pipe thread instead of garden thread. So Ashley's gone back to the hardware store to get that and some more of those little clips to hold things down. In the meantime, we actually planted 2 more trees here in this area right outside the berm. So we thought, hey, why don't we irrigate those too? So we're gonna tee off right here, run it there, run it there. Should be pretty easy. One tip that Rudy told us when putting these emitters in is you want there to be pressure in the line, because otherwise this pipe is so thin, it's just, you're not going to be able to poke the hole through, and then there's not going to be enough pressure to actually push that little part through to snap in. So you have to turn the water on and then snap the hole, and then it's going to spray you, and then you're going to push it in, and then it'll be okay. So it's taking the girls longer to get back with that piece that we need. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna try to put this in without water pressure. Turns out, with this tool at least, it works about 95% of the time. You kind of got to hold the tube right. As long as you get the hole through, then these do snap in just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up until they bring that other piece back. See if I can do it. Hey, guess what? Helps to use the right fittings. So now we have the correct garden thread on both of this. Our reducer down to the 1/2 inch. I've set it to manually run the north berm for an hour, so let's go walk it and let's see if it's working. Just heard the pump kick on, so it's doing something. So our north berm is gonna start right here. So those are working, and then we don't have anything till we get past the big mesquite. All right, that one's working. That one's working. Looks like it hasn't got over to this side yet. Can you hear that? That means the water's still moving. That one's going. Okay, this is getting a little boring, sorry. Working. I'm gonna go a little faster. Working. Now let's see if the other side has made it yet. Okay. Yes. This one's not doing anything. Oh, there it goes. Oh no! I missed that one. Okay, we're gonna have to come back to that one. Those are working, those are working. Those two, and these two, and then the end cap. All right, that's it. I gotta go fix those two, and we can call it finished. I'm attempting to learn how to use this app to program tomorrow morning's watering, which is pretty cool. So I've set up 2 program slots in this app. The first is for the South Swale. It's going to start at, let's see, 4:30 a.m. It's going to run for an hour. Then at 5:40 a.m., so we'll give it some time for that accumulator tank to fill back up, it'll start on the North Berm. So by the time, by 6:40, we should have everything watered. I hope it works. Are we going to get up at 4:30 and check it?
Sure. You can.
Okay.
So as you may know, many people have sponsored trees through our Tiny Shiny Tree Collective.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had people donate to this project.
So we wanted to make sure we followed up finishing the project by recognizing all the people that helped us do this.
Right. So here's the list of all where our trees are. Can you make sense of that?
Oh, jeez.
It was really bad. So Jonathan, being the designer he is, created this beautiful spreadsheet here.
I'm gonna.
Spreadsheet
It's
picture.
not a spreadsheet. I'm gonna take a quick video of this and put it up on the screen because you can't see this.
They're all color coordinated.
Color coordinated with a little
Key.
color key. They've been numbered. Which
They
you
are all
can't
numbered.
See, we have to take away the actual like terrain picture to see the numbers.
Right. So let's get started. We have 77 trees on our property, and one of the benefits of being a sponsor on this Tiny Shiny Tree Collective is we're going to be sending everybody who sponsored a tree their own little picture of their tree with what type it is and the date it was planted.
And the number.
And the number of the tree. So, and
That's keyed on the map.
we should put this on the website so that they can actually see exactly where it is on their property, on our property.
It's a possibility.
Okay, we'll figure it out. So the next step is we're gonna go take pictures of all the trees and get this situated so we can mail out everybody's picture.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused on how we're gonna take the picture and number it, and then figure out who gets what number.
I know how.
You've got that figured out?
I got it.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's gonna be fine. You're gonna wear it like that?
I'm gonna wear it like this. Oh yeah.
Honey, I'm just human. When you tripped, I couldn't help it.
We'll film.
Film.
We're ready to do the first one.
All right. What number is this one?
Number 1, Desert Willow.
Desert Willow, number 1.
So I have the list of what kind of tree it is, the number of the tree, and when Jonathan takes the picture, I'm just checking it off, making sure that the number's right and the tree is right. We'll go from there.
Down your back, know that you love me. You know that I'm silly, stupid for you, baby. And I know I let you laugh with me down. Hey, baby, please. I love you and when
Number 64, a eucalyptus with a perfect view of the chicken garden. 71, last on the swale, hackberry. I need number 72, Desert Willow. 72, let's go.
In a minute.
One probably yelled at you.
Alright, there.
Was it the perfect shot?
It's the perfect shot.
Okay, we got 5 more in the cactus garden. This is the very last tree. It's number 77, and this is a white mulberry. Okay, whoever has 77 has the view of my ocotillo, chicken garden,
Can't see the other.
airstream.
Oh, no, yeah, you can. Hold on.
So
hold
many
on.
cool things.
Lining it up, lining it up. We got the peak, we got the ocotillo, we got the chicken garden.
This may be the best view. Like, this tree has the best view of the property. 77. I wonder who gets it. Now comes the fun part. We have 27 trees
27.
that we are donating because we don't have room here on our property and we're not set up yet to water that many.
So we reached out to all the tree sponsors and we're like, hey, we don't have room to plant them. Is it okay if we donate a few of these to people in our local community?
Yeah.
And
And
so
we had enough that said, yes, that's
Yeah.
fine. So we have people to go ahead and take these too.
yeah, we want to get these in the ground at people's properties as quickly as possible to give them a better chance to survive. So we're packing them all up and we're going on a delivery. Bunch of
Kind of
deliveries.
fun to take stuff to people.
I know, it is kind of fun.
I want to do this more often.
Well, maybe the Tiny Shiny Tree Collective will
We get to go
be
take
much
trees.
bigger than us, and we'll just donate trees to all sorts of people.
That'd be really cool.
One
Okay,
day. One day.
Let's load them up and get them over there.
Okay. Oh wait, you're not driving.
You ready?
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Two down, 25 to go.
Are you so excited to do 25 more holes?
On to the next one.
Like being wet and cool. She jumps. Oh.
Like, well, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Last stop on the tree delivery train.
I have bad news.
What?
There's 2 more deliveries after this.
But we're not doing it today, are we?
Yep. I'm so sorry.
it the last run?
It is the last run of trees, and then we are done.
Yes.
So I'm here at the post office putting stamps on all these cards that we're sending out to the people who sponsored our trees. And I just think it's really cool. We've got cards going to Australia, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Denmark, and as well as like New York, here in Arizona, California, Colorado, Texas, Utah, Sweden, New Jersey, Ohio, Texas, South Dakota, Illinois. This is crazy. I love it so much. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone who has sponsored a tree this year. It's been a huge project. We've learned a lot. And you should be getting these cards in the mail this week. Last one. At this point, it's been about a month since we installed our first Berm Swale and got everything planted. So you may be wondering, how's it working?
Wow, that's a great question. So first we ran into a big issue with our chickens.
I didn't realize that chickens like to eat grass seed, and all of our chickens are free range because we're still working on our chicken garden project.
So they're not contained in their chicken run during the day. They just have free range of the whole property. And so what happened is we planted all these grass seeds and we put straw down on top of them and we put straw around the base of the trees to hold the moisture in.
So we basically created a chicken playground.
Yes, and all they did was eat the grass seed and pull up all the straw around the trees, and it was a big problem.
And
so
do their dust baths in the berm.
Yes,
it was
and
great.
Kept messing up the berms, taking big chunks out of them. So we decided to focus on the trees because we can always replant grass seed later. But for the trees, we had to get some metal cages that we put around every single tree to protect it. And we were going to put more straw on, but we decided to use some manure or some compost, I guess. I don't know, what do we call it?
It's composted goat manure.
Okay. Which ironically, the chickens have been working for some time. So they've been scratching it and doing the thing. And so we just transferred all that to the base of the trees. It's helping hold in the moisture, and the chickens can't get to it.
Also, I think having the bedding from the goats' wood chip bedding is really helping. So it's got the pine shavings, straw, and goat manure. So all that working together, it's kind of holding better than just straw because the straw is blowing away.
The straw does blow away in the crazy winds, yes. Now, as far as those grass seeds go, we're just gonna wait to reseed. And actually, we have a ton of native stuff that's already growing up naturally on the berm, so maybe we won't need to do it, but for now, no more seeds until the chickens are in the earthbag chicken garden.
And you may be wondering how the little swale on the top of the property is doing.
Yeah, so we did, we had it sort of cut in with the tractor, but unfortunately it wasn't really cut in at the right level. So there's like a dip in the middle and then it comes back up at the end of it. And we just haven't had a chance to get over there and try to fix it yet. So it's really not doing anything right now, but we've seen so much rain, that side is still filling up. Yeah. So maybe it's not as big a deal as we thought it was. The drip irrigation is working really great. We haven't had any problems with it. It's done exactly what it's supposed to do. We've been on an every other day schedule. Up to this point, we're about to switch to every 3 days as we get these more established. They all have new growth.
Yeah. Also, with the monsoon season, we haven't had to turn that drip irrigation on as much as we thought we would.
Yeah.
But we have had to irrigate often enough that our tank is slowly going down on our water.
Definitely using a lot more water than we would have been otherwise. But yeah, being able to go into the app on the drip irrigation thing and saying, hey, rain delay, or pause for a day, or pause for 2 days is really nice so that we don't waste that water, although I haven't always got to it in time, and we have wasted a little bit of water, but that's okay.
You didn't tell me that part.
But hey, the trees all have new growth, and they're all doing good.
Yep.
So, high five.
Now, this is actually our third summer here on our property, and the first time that we've had a legit scary monsoon season.
It's been pretty intense this year.
Yeah.
The first year we moved out here, there were no monsoons at all. And we were like, what is going on? And then the next year
we had one bad storm.
Yeah, but this year has been like just pounding after pounding of crazy intense storms. We had
hail, crazy sideways rain.
Yeah.
So much water.
We actually completely filled up the swales one night to a little bit overflowing. And remember, those swales are sized for a 100-year event. So it looks like we already got our 100-year, and they held and they did their job. Speaking of holding, I mean, remember the whole point of this is to protect where the house is going to go. And even though we had an enormous amount of water, flowing down the property, usually we have it all running under the airstream where the house is going to go, and hardly any of that happened because the swales did catch and they stopped that water, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, but I can see that we are going to be adding more berms and swales later on after our house build, because on down the property, past where the house is going to go, it's getting a little crazy down there.
It's definitely moved the landscape around a little bit.
Yeah, so eventually we'll be adding to this series and creating more berms and swales, but for now, the one that we have is working great.
Yeah, and what's cool is that because our soil is so sandy, it isn't holding water super long. Like, it usually drains in about a day, which is pretty quick.
That's what we want.
We want it to drain quickly, to drain into the ground, and for all the plants to soak up all that water. All I have to say, we couldn't be happier with how this project turned out, and we can't wait to start the process of greening the desert here in Arizona.
We hope this video inspires you to look at more sustainable ways of working with your land, especially if you're in the desert climate.
If you're in the Cochise County area and you want to do something similar like this, definitely get in touch with Rudy at waterslifedesign.com. He comes highly recommended.
So, what's next?
Well, we have lots more plans for permaculture techniques, berms and swales, but you know what? We got to build a house first.
It's true. There's always something going on here at the Tiny Shiny Homestead, and we hope you'll keep watching to find out what's next.
See you soon.
Got no issues, it's kinda nice. Like running water into a paradise. Got no drama, feels like we arrived. Picture perfect, it don't exist. But when I'm with you, don't have to question it. True devotion. Oh, my life, I thought the love was just a lie. A way to feel an unrealistic high. We get our fix, but never satisfied. Give you all of my love and you give it right back. I could fly, I could fall, I know you got my back. Never thought I would find someone to love like that. Like that, like that. I like